Hello, good afternoon or good morning or whatever it is where you are. Um, Here we are live in Facebook land through the miracle of StreamYard. And not only on Facebook, but you might be watching this by some chance on LinkedIn, in which case, hello. You might even be watching it on Twitter, to which I'd say, why are you watching it on Twitter? I think you're probably watching this in the Facebook group, aren't you? And in fact, I'm just going to refresh my Facebook group up on the screen here, just to make sure that it is streaming. And yes, it is. Oh, it really is. Yeah, well, welcome. If you're here, you're in for a treat today, because I've got all kinds of cool ideas. Well, not all kinds. I've got 5 cool ideas to elevate your status with your ideal clients. And we'll cover, first of all, why this is important. But just before we do, I have a banner to put on the bottom here, which I think will help because you are saying hello in the comments. If you're here, by the way, if you're watching this live, type hello in the comments so I can see you. If you're going up as a Facebook user, which you are on my feed here, it's because you haven't been to streamyard.com/Facebook. So hop on over to streamyard.com/Facebook, and just give it permission to display your name. So we've got Coralie here. Hi, Coralie, my dear. And we have 3 Facebook users. I've no idea who you are. No idea who you are because I can't see your names. I think it's probably Rita and Manjinda. Karen's here as well. Say hello in the comments if you are here. Well, I thrive off your energy. Get a little bit of a boost from you guys being here for sure. You're very welcome. If you haven't been to streamyard.com/Facebook, just have a look on the bottom of the screen there on that ticker. Just go to that website, streamyard.com/Facebook. There's a button to press to give it permission to reveal your name, and then I can see who you are. I do blather on about this every week, but I love to know who it is that's actually typing. So hello, Jonny. Don't know who you are. Facebook user. It says Facebook user yes. Facebook user hello. Facebook user hi. So go to streamyard.com, give it permission to reveal your name to us, and then we'll know who you are then. I can actually see Claudita Fanny Fantino, who is in the group. But Simon's saying a good strong hi. I know it's you, Simon. Right, okay, I have a question for you. I have a question for you to get the training started today. And the training is all about status and how to generate the status that's required with your ideal clients. So what is it all about, status? What do we mean by that? Well, here's the thing. You're all aware, I'm sure, of this cliche about know, like, and trust, this KLT thing, which people teach, and we are all aware that our clients have to know us, like us, and trust us before they buy from them. That is true as far as it goes. But if you think about it, you can know, like, and trust someone who, by any measure, is not the same status as you are, either in society or in knowledge or something like that. For example, you trust the person who drives your public transport, don't you? For example, you trust the barista in your coffee shop to make you some coffee that isn't going to poison you, hopefully. When we talk about status in a client arrangement, I can see you now, Leslie. Yes, definitely can see you now. So Leslie's done the thing. Look, there you go. Leslie's done the thing. We can see her name in a picture. When we talk about status in the client-provider relationship, what we're really talking about is, how do they feel about you? How do they feel about you? Do they feel that you know something they don't? Do they feel, for example, that you are living the life that they aspire to? Do they feel, for example, that if they take a few steps closer to you and decide to work with you, that their life will be transformed and not in a bad way? All that comes from their perception that in this particular field of expertise you have an elevated status. Your status is higher than theirs. So we're going to go through some ideas today, 5 ideas, in fact, 5 separate ideas, as to how you can elevate your status and ensure that your ideal clients see you as a person, certainly in the area that they're concerned about, the area they're desperate to change. They see you as a person of elevated status. Can you see why that's important? Give us a yay in the comments if this is starting to make sense. So the question is, does it make sense that you ought to be positioning yourself as an elevated status to your potential client in the area that they're desperate to change? Give us a yay if that makes sense. So we've got a yay from Mimi. We've got a yay from Karen. Leslie agrees with that. Facebook user who hasn't been to streamyard.com agrees with that. We've got a yay. We have a emoji from Simon. Simon agrees to that. Okay. So, and Coralie. Yeah, it makes sense. It does, doesn't it? I like common sense. I do. I like making sense. So, if we accept that it would be useful to create an elevated status in the eyes of your client, how do we do that? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a scenario where your status could be damaged. And this is in the area of how you show up in the conversation. Does your client feel, your potential client feel, when they're talking to you, that you are desperate to make a sale? That is the big no-no, isn't it? That is the big no-no. If the client feels that, your status falls in their eyes and they just see you as somebody trying to flog them, something like all the other herberts on the internet. Do they see that you are uncertain or unsure or underconfident when you're presenting your price? That damages your status too, doesn't it? A couple of other things. Do they see you negotiating? If they're going, not so sure, you can say, well, seeing it's you, I'll knock a bit off, seeing it's you, mates rates, that kind of thing. Because that damages your status, doesn't it? Your status is eroded by that. Someone of a high authority and high status wouldn't do that, would they? Do they ever see you bartering, for example, where maybe there's something they could give you in exchange for your services? That is not high status behavior, is it? All that's low status. So there are quite a few status damaging behaviors around the topic of money, about the negotiation, about the money, if you like. Discounts, says Simon. Yeah, exactly. I think discounts, except in very limited circumstances, Simon, are going to damage your status. It's low status behavior, isn't it? If you have it in your mind that you are a valuable practitioner and that your services are worth the money that you're asking, there will be very limited circumstances where you'd offer a discount. Because what you're doing then is you're flying in the face of all the credibility that you've built, aren't you? You've explained, hopefully, in the course of a conversation, and also from what they know about you previously, maybe from referrals and recommendations and things, they have this picture of you, don't they? As an expert practitioner, somebody who is worth the money, somebody who is a premium provider. Discounts start to dig into that, don't they? And you start to damage your premium status. Never given. Yeah. Right, so we've landed on something here. I don't know who you are, Facebook user, as you can see there, but you can mention your name. I think installments are a great idea. We prefer to call them payment plans. But payment plans, as Simon has said, make it easy for people to buy from you who use your rate. So you don't need to offer discounts if you help them out with stage payments. So that is absolutely the case, isn't it? And Mimi's landing on something here as well, which high status people don't do. High status people don't rip people off. And although you might feel like you're doing the opposite by giving them a discount, you're actually ripping off the people who pay you full price, aren't you? You can't have differential pricing. You can't just do a nod and a wink and say, seeing it's you, we'll let you off that extra grand or something. It isn't fair for those who paid in full. And this will come out in the wash because guess what? People talk. People talk. Somebody will boast about, how they paid £2 grand for your £3 grand program. And somebody paid £3 grand for it. We'll see that. And, it never ends well. Very soon, you will damage your brand and potentially lose everything that you've worked for. So let's get this in your mind that we're not talking about not doing payment plans. Payment plans are a great idea. This comes under the banner of hard helping, as far as I can see. You're all familiar with the idea of hard selling, right? So hard helping is when you're with someone who you really know you can help, you're going to go out of your way to make it as easy as possible for them to join your program. And one great way of lowering the friction, removing the friction from that process, is to offer payment plans. And it's up to you how you do that. That's a subject for another day, of course, and I'm more than happy to, expand on sales and all those kind of techniques. Just before we leave this one particular thing, can anybody come up with another way that you could damage your status, lower your status in the financial area, in the financial negotiations and that kind of thing? What else might you do that could damage your status financially on the financial side? Or conversely, give us a good behavior when we're looking to retain and potentially elevate our status financially. Ooh, there's a good one. There's a good one. There's a good one from Coralie. Bashing competitors. Goodness me. So it's not literally connected with the financial negotiation, Coralie, but that's a really good one. I actually hadn't thought of that, so that is a good one there. And look, here's a very, very grand one. If you're too cheap, my goodness, high status people don't give their time away, do they? They don't price too low. If you're regularly getting reactions from clients at enrollment saying, "Ooh, didn't they get it that cheap?" then you're on the wrong track, aren't you? You're damaging your status with them. So brilliant. So that's 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5 that we're going to do how to damage your status and how to, conversely, how to ensure that your status is there. Get the money discussion right. Price properly. Stick to your guns, but offer payment plans if needed. Nobody does that, and you could say that is actually a status winning move, isn't it? Mimi's also sworn off programs that hire hard sell people. Yeah, it sucks all that, doesn't it? Yeah, it's no good, that is. Right, another good status move, and we're talking about money here, is a concept called price conditioning. And price conditioning is something that's been around ever since people were trying to sell things to other people, where suggestions are made as to the likely cost and the likely value, indeed, of your services, without actually hitting the numbers. And I've got a really interesting little tactic here, which I completely buy into. I think you should all do this today, right? You should all do this today. So make a note of this one. Price conditioning means setting your prices within a range of expectations. So they're expecting your price to be in a certain range. And a really good way to do this is to create a top-end offer without any expectation that anyone's going to buy it, but just to plonk it on your website as a top-end offer. For example, you could say 12-month deep dive mastermind, open access to me, 24/7, blah, 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 $24,000 or euros or pounds, and price that and put that on your website. Now, that in itself, when it's done well with a value stack within it, is a status move, isn't it? It's a high status move, because not everybody is charging 25 grand to work with them for a year. So you've immediately positioned yourself in the eyes of that viewer, that reader, that website user, as someone of value, someone with that elevated status, if you like. Now, it doesn't matter, as I say, that nobody buys that. You might want to actually dig deep and put some kind of campaign together to find the right people for that. That's a different topic. But just having that there is a status move. It's a good status move. So top end offer, that's the second status move. First one is to be responsible and act with authority when you are talking about money. Second status move is to have a high-end offer that people can see that's on your website. And the other way you can talk about this, of course, is you can allude to it kind of in your posts and things. If you're giving a bundle of goodies, a PDF, something, you could say, look, you know, we wrote this ebook or this PDF specifically for my high-end clients who, you know, pay 24 grand to work with me for a year. But, you know, we're actually putting it together here. So think about the status that you create, the elevated status you create by having a high-end product, irrespective of whether anybody buys it or not. Do we like that one? Do we like that one? Give us a yeah if you like that one. Somebody's just come in with another damaging status thing, which I agree. Yeah, over-promising. Yeah, don't do that. Over-deliver. Over-deliver rather than over-promise. So we've got two steps into these 5 status ideas. Price conditioning. Stick a top-end offer on your website that positions you as a high-end provider, says Leslie. She agrees for sure. Next one, status. What we mean by status, just to remind you, this whole session is about status, is demonstrating to your clients that you are a high status than them in the area that they're desperate to change. Somebody who knows their onions when it comes to the thing that they're engaging with you for. And a great way to do this is to tell client success stories. Tell stories of people just like them that you have helped. Therefore, they can see these other people who are the same status as them have been helped by you, who at least in that area is therefore of an elevated status. So this is a subtle difference to just blathering testimonials out there, because testimonials don't necessarily give the reader any insight into the status of the person writing the testimonial. Does that make sense? They're just names on the page, aren't they? So there's a bit of social proof in there. We don't dislike testimonials. It's always a good idea. However, you telling stories in your own words about the experience that your clients have had, what they've got from you, where they were before they came to you, and where and how they were after they'd worked with you, is a nice high status move, isn't it? Because you can demonstrate in your words and your stories that you have helped people just like them to get to the next level. So there's the third thing. Tell client stories. Don't be lazy about this. Don't just slap up testimonials. Tell stories. Another good way to do this is to have live interviews with people that you've helped. Stream a little live show using StreamYard, for example. We love the StreamYard platform. You can easily get 2 people on here. You get more than 2, but stream a live interview into your social media with someone you helped, positioning yourself as the authority, as the highest status person who's done that. Does that make sense? Give us a thumb there. Give us a thumb if you like that one. We've done 3 out of 5 so far. I'm just going to have a swig from my on-brand orange coffee mug. Right, so 2 more to go. And if you just joined us today, the topic is status. How do you get your clients to feel that you are of a higher status to them in the area specifically that they're desperate to change. That's how you know your onions. So far we've talked about money. No begging, no negotiating, no bartering. State your price with confidence. Stand your ground. Offer payment plans if necessary. Secondly, we talked about price conditioning by plonking out a top-end offer on your website that people don't necessarily have to buy, but as long as they are aware of it. And the third status move is telling client success stories. So, fourth one is making statements, both written and verbal, even in passing comments, about supply and demand. Supply and demand statements. This is a really, really cool one. I love playing around with this because when we create for our clients in the Client Attraction Academy, when we create programs, we are careful to create an inbuilt urgency and scarcity. So there's two things, urgency and scarcity in the program. How do we do this? Well, we launch the programs on a regular basis on a certain date. So the person you're talking to knows that the program is starting with or without them. There's an urgency there. Secondly, we make it clear that there are a limited number of places on the program. And as the program fills up naturally, you're not exaggerating, you're not speaking any mistruths. You are telling it as it is. There are only 2 places left. There are only 1 place left. So playing around with supply and demand is very, very much a status play. Another thing that we see oftentimes is people say, I'm looking for 1 client this month. I'm just looking for 1 client to help on a very deep basis. I'm going to take you on a spectacular journey. That'll just be you and me. I've only got space for 1 person. That positions you as high status because you're in demand, aren't you? You're busy. And in the eyes of the potential client, there is an opportunity there that is now or never, and that is moving away from them. And guess what people do? Guess what we all do when something's moving away from us? What do we do when something's moving away from us? Just type in the comments. What do we do when we see something we want that's moving away from us? What do we do? What do we do? This is a high status move. You can position your offer as something that's moving away, that isn't available to everyone. We chase it, thanks, Mimi. Humans chase whatever's moving away from them. We want what we can't have. We reach out to grab it. We all want what we can't have. We want what we can't have. FOMO is a real thing, isn't it? So humans always chase what's moving away from them. They all want what they can't have. That's just how it is. And in elevating your status, you create an ecosystem where you can't work with everyone. You cannot possibly work with everyone. If you just fling your diary open and say to them, when do you want to start? When would be good for you? You know, when can we do the session? That kind of thing. You've no status at all in that relationship, have you? Their status is higher than yours at that point. Because they're going, well, I can't do Tuesdays, you know, I can do it Friday, all that kind of thing. Yeah. Let's just try a nice comment here. I do apologise, but I don't know who you are, Facebook user. If you can type your name in the next comment, that would be good. Love this. Did this last week for an additional service for clients. It would be absolutely brilliant for them. We limited it to 5 and they went in a day. Oh, it's Wendy. There you go. The tyranny of Facebook won't allow me to join without 2FA. Okay. Wendy Norman, beautiful Wendy Norman, one of my favourite people. And phone's downstairs. Oh, I see. 2 Fat Rocket Education. So look at the first bit of that. Look at the first bit of that, Wendy Norman, and the rest of you. Additional service for clients. Be absolutely brilliant. We limited it to 5. They went in a day. There you go. So that is a perfect example of a high status move that resulted in revenue for Wendy's business and resulted in a great experience for those 5 lucky clients. always be making supply and demand statements. There's no point in just putting an offer out there. Because here's the thing in sales, I say we're not digressing too far into sales strategies today. But the thing in sales is this, that people need a reason to buy. We all agree that, don't we? They'll buy because they think, it's going to solve a big expensive problem, or it's going to give them some pleasure and improve their lives. Those are what we call reasons to buy. But people also need, oftentimes, a reason to buy now. A reason to buy now. A reason to buy isn't enough, is it? If there's a reason to buy, they can just go away and come back and buy it later, can't they? Or not, because life gets in the way, doesn't it? So a reason to buy now is going to be created by your elevated status through your supply and demand statements, making it really, really clear that, look, I'd love to help you, but you're going to have to jump on board because I only got one place available. I only got 3, that kind of thing. So Wendy's given a perfect example of this, and I'm sure the rest of you got some stories too about supply and demand, which is just so important. So if the clients see you as somebody that they have to move towards, but they have to move towards now, otherwise they're going to miss it, your status in that relationship is elevated, isn't it? So that's a great status elevation move. I'm going to talk to you about the final one, which you're going to love because you're going to enjoy this one. But I'm just going to recap the first 4 status moves. The first thing is be solid in all your financial transactions. State the price, do not waver, state it confidently in the full belief that it's incredible value, which it will be, I've no doubt, knowing you guys. Do not barter, do not negotiate, but offer payment plans. That's a status move in itself. Second status move we talked about, price conditioning by placing a high-end offer on your website and in your social media to which they can relate and then see that the offers you're making are good value compared to that. Third good status move is to tell client stories, to really, really dig deep into client stories, experiences of people just like them, so they can see that you, the high status authority, have helped people the same status as them to overcome the problems that they themselves have. Where we got to with the 4th one was to talk about supply and demand. So the natural supply and demand in your business, you can't help everybody, you haven't got capacity for that. Even if you have got tons of capacity, structuring an offer such that there are limited places on it for a limited number of people over a limited time is the winning move and elevates your status. So do that for sure. We're ready for the last one. Just before I give you the last high status move, which I can guarantee you'll love, I'm going to make you an offer. This applies, and I'm not being mean here, but this applies to any of you on this call who are not already in the Client Attraction Academy or indeed in the CAB. This is a little taster of the kind of work that these wonderful people are experiencing, people like Coralie and Karen and Mimi and Leslie and all the rest of you who are on the CAB and the CEA. You experience a transformational journey with Lisa and me, where we go out of our way to really help you build your business from the inside out. But an interesting starting point, I think, is to evaluate where you are on social media. And in fact, we offer what we call a social media audit, just to kind of get to grips with, where you are right now. I'm just going to drop a link in the chat. And if you would like to do this, if you don't know much about us or you haven't experienced any of the work that we do, completely free of charge, I'm going to offer you right now, and it's just appeared in the chat here, a 20-minute social media audit. If you want another way to do this, I'm just going to create a banner. Wonderful StreamYard. I love StreamYard, don't we? So there you go. So that link is actually in the chat, so it'll be easy for you to access from there. But if you would like to book a 20-minute social media audit, feel free to do it if you're not already in the CAA. It's incredible, really helping my ministry move forwards. We love it. We love working with all you beautiful people. Right, I am just going to give you, as promised, the 5th and final This is not a comprehensive list, but these are 5 things, aren't they? The fifth and final status enhancing move that you can make, which I think you're going to love about this. You are going to absolutely love this. You've typed social media audit Facebook user. I don't know who you are, but if you can identify yourself, I'll make sure you get the link to it afterwards. So this person here, let us know who you are, and I'll make sure you get a link to it. Anybody else, if you don't want to click the link, just type social media audit in the chat. I'll make sure that you actually get a link to a social media audit. It's a 20-minute session, and we'll find 3 things on your social media. 3 things on your social media that you can improve straight away. It's just a little free little taster session where we get into your social media and have a look at it. So link please, says Jane. Yeah, if you'd like a link to this, as I say, just type social media audit or give us your name or something like that, so we know who you are. These comments, we can read them later. So I'm going to give you the 5th and final now thing that you can do to elevate your status in the eyes of your client. And just to recap an overview quickly, why this is important is that clients will come flocking to you, magnetically, in fact, if they feel that you are of a high status to them in the thing that they want to change, and the thing they're desperate to change. So the 5th and final one is as follows: lifestyle evidence. And what I mean by this is that people will work with people who are already living the lifestyle that they aspire to. So if you can show, by lifting the curtain a bit on your life, on the way that you conduct your existence, if you can demonstrate to them that you are living the life that they aspire to, then much more likely to move a few steps closer, aren't they? And that is absolutely why I am more than happy to share insights into my travel, for example. We get around a bit these days. If I feel that, there's something aspirational going on. Obviously, getting a bus to Tamworth isn't much that I'll be shouting about, but we were in California over Christmas, we're in New York, and it's fun as well. People like seeing travel pictures anyway, don't they, wherever they think of it. There's a fine line here, because we don't want to be complete dicks about it, do we? I mean, these people who do buy Porsches and take pictures of themselves sitting on the bonnet of the new Porsche with their personalized registration plate, it really winds me up. That it's just silly, right? We're talking about lifestyle rather than lavish purchases, but we're talking about just being the kind of person that our ideal clients might aspire to be themselves. So if you work with photographers, for example, I've been talking with a client this week who helps photographers branding, then show your photo shoots, go out, take pictures of yourself taking pictures, right? Because then you're positioning yourself as somebody who's actually walking the walk and doing what you say you can help them do. We're talking about appearance, aren't we? What you look like. Yeah. We're talking about the environment that you're in. Make you pretty up your office and your environment. I spent years doing that badly. I had another version of this room before we redecorated, which was a right bloody mess. The background was awful. So, think about your environment. Share adventures on social media. Share where you're going and what you're doing and who you're hanging out with and fun stuff you're doing. I share my music, which people seem to like, playing tickling the ivories. I certainly share the travel that we're doing, going to fun places. So be the person they want to be. That is the 5th and final elevated status thing. Practice what you preach. Yeah. So if you would like a social media audit, type social media audit in the comments, or type that link if you can catch it off the thing. I've just dropped it again in the comments. Listen, I'm more than happy to spend 20 minutes rather, with each and every one of you. the caveat to that is if you've not been in the CAB, if you've not been in the CAA, because you'll have experienced all that good stuff if you have. If you're a CAB client or a CAA client, we go way deeper than a 20-minute audit, as you can imagine. So if you are new to the community, welcome. It's beautiful to have you here. And I'm more than happy to extend some free space in my calendar, do a social media audit for you. What will be the outcome from that is that you'll get 3 things to improve on your social media immediately, so that, well, you can elevate your status as we're talking today. So just be clear with your money. Don't barter. Don't cave in when people say, "Oh, I can't afford it." Price condition by sticking an offer out on the website somewhere that says, it's 12 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand to work with you for a year, that kind of thing. Tell deep and rich stories, success stories about people just like them working with you, what they got from it. And be very clear on supply and demand. Your calendar is not their calendar. Just because you're open for business on Monday and you haven't got any appointments doesn't mean that you can just say when you want to do it. Be very clear in the time that you're carving out for people, and indeed in the way that you serve people. Limited number of spaces, as Wendy adequately said earlier. And finally, what we're talking about is lifestyle evidence. Let people feel that being like you would not be a bad thing. Make people think. I think I look like an alcoholic in my posts. Wendy, you do not. You look great in your posts. In fact, I love the way that you share your life. It's marvelous. Wendy, by the way, does a lot of cruises, and that's a good example of an aspirational lifestyle. Who wouldn't want to go on a cruise twice a year like Wendy does, spending months on the ocean wave? Dana says, wonderful information, a great idea, fantastic. So look, just to finish up, think consciously in everything you do, the way you show up every day in every way, and ask this question at every single touch point. Say to yourself, is what I'm doing enhancing my status in the eyes of my ideal client, or is it diminishing my status in the eyes of my ideal client? We haven't even gone down the rabbit hole, have we, of moaning about how bad things are, which we see coaches and therapists do that all the time. Woe is me, and never guess what happened to me this week. That is a status diminishing action, for example. We've talked about quite a few today, and I hope it's been useful. But just think about this in every way, in every day when you show up. Ask this question: is what I am doing now enhancing my status in the eyes of my ideal clients, or is it diminishing my status? And if it's the latter, don't do it. Do something smarter and better. One final offer: if you want a social media audit, 20 minutes. This is open to anybody who's not been on the CAB and CAA, please. Just type social media audit in the comments. We'll find 3 things to improve on your social media straight away. I'll do that personally live with you in the next few days. I am off sick because it's Friday afternoon. It is, as I'm sure Wendy will agree, Pim's o'clock or something like that. So I'm off. I'll see you next week for another lively TFIF session. Hope you've enjoyed it. Love you lots. See you soon. Bye.